My name is George Sardakis from Vincent Hirsch Financial Services, and today we're going to talk about why we still feel broke even when we're making a good salary. It's oftentimes the case where after maybe changing jobs once, twice, maybe three times, we start making a lot more than we did on our very first salary, but it still feels like we're just barely able to make ends meet. This video isn't necessarily about budgeting or having to cut costs or anything like that. It's more trying to understand why this feeling exists and where it's rooted. Not necessarily, where we should be cutting expenses. It's more about understanding where it is our money goes. Maybe, our rent has crept up a little bit, or maybe we're paying more in insurance, or the cell phone bill went up. There are these income expense creeps that have set in that we're kind of blind to. We don't think our expenses have changed that much, but when we take a look under the hood, there are some things that have changed over time. Now, let's note first that the annual salary that we see in our contracts, in our agreements, that's not our spend money. That's what's called gross income. Gross income is the number that exists before taxes and benefits and expenses are taken out. So things like our 401k contributions, our health insurance, taxes, any other kind of payroll deduction occurs after that gross income number. So an example might be if we're getting a $5,000 or $10,000 raise in our income, that's going to be gross of taxes. You still have to pay our taxes. We still have the 401k contributions that come out. Maybe our health insurance comes out, any kind of other disability insurance that comes from our job, any of those kinds of perks, they still come out, and our increase looks less than what was stated to us. Now, this isn't to say that income raises don't matter. They absolutely matter because we still have expenses. Our expenses go up. We have inflation. Inflation causes our expenses to go up. Inflation is the mechanism by which prices increase on an annual basis. So we want to make sure that we're getting bonuses or pay raises that exceed or at least match inflation, but better if it's exceeding inflation. As I mentioned before, it's oftentimes the case where our fixed expenses often creep up. This would be things like our cell phone bill, or rent, or gas for our car, or groceries. These types of things are obviously subject to inflation. They're obviously subject to whatever fees and price increases that the insurance company has implemented, or any kind of fees and taxes and whatnot that our cell phone provider or entertainment subscription provider has implemented. Like if we have a music subscription and their price went up an extra $1 or $2 a month, that's something that's outside of our control. Those are fixed expense creep ups. Now, this doesn't mean that we have to cut everything. Maybe it's more a matter of looking at different cell phone providers. Maybe we look at different providers for these services. Maybe we shop things around. Maybe it's more a matter of understanding and recognizing where our expenses are going and how we can address these things. Now, this one's going to be a little tricky to understand, so I'm going to try my best to explain it. So when we see our pay go up, or whether it's a bonus or a pay raise, or we change jobs, or we took on a second job to get additional money, it's oftentimes the case that we see our progress getting absorbed. And what do I mean? We change our lifestyle a little bit. Maybe we go out to eat a little bit more because we know that we have a little extra money to spend. Now, this isn't to say that it's a moral failure or how we don't deserve these things. We absolutely do, but we have to be aware of what it is that which expenses we're increasing, and whether or not they're something that we can avoid or wait on, or if it's something that is absolutely necessary. Now, what does all of this mean? This means that just because you feel broke, it doesn't mean that you're failing. It often means that we just need to take an audit on what's going on, what our expenses are versus our new income, and understand our cash flow. Identify the fixed expenses versus the variable expenses. What can we maybe cut out a little bit, like these variable expenses, maybe going out to eat, or these lifestyle creeps that can be adjusted or modified or negotiated. The relief of experiencing this increased income often comes from understanding and having visibility into and insights into these things, not necessarily taking drastic action. We just have to better understand where our money's going, and maybe that'll help take some pressure off of feeling like we're making less money relative to our expenses. If this helps you understand what you're feeling, that's kind of the point. It's not necessarily a matter of which expenses do I need to cut out, which expenses are absolutely necessary. That's not what this is about. This is more about taking an audit of ourselves and what our expenses are versus our income. Did one increase more than the other? And kind of taking a broader perspective of our overall financial situation. I hope this helps. And if anybody has any questions, please drop a comment below. Thank you so much.